Hello, Nearly New Models here again. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to be installing the new Nest battery doorbell, and we'll be installing it onto 4-inch standard straight lap vinyl siding. And we're also going to cover installing the angled shim, and we will also go into detail covering the older Nest wired model at the end. The new Nest battery is a rather large doorbell, so it makes it hard to install on vinyl siding if that's where your doorbell is currently. However, I have the solution. This mount has recessed nubs and the recess for the button on the back of the mounting plate for the Nest battery. And there's also a slot for your wiring if you choose to wire it up. These mounts come in 4 colors: black, white, silver, beige, and brown. The mounts are the same size as the front of the battery and wired Nest doorbell, and it allows for good stability. The Nest mounts I make have significant R&D behind them, and they are made out of a non-biodegradable plastic called PETG, which is UV resistant. If any concerns are introduced by customers when using my mounts, sometimes these are addressed in a model revision. So sometimes the mount you purchase may not look exactly like these mounts that you're seeing here in this video as this video ages. You can get my mounts below in the description. There is a link to doorbellmounts.com and a coupon code for you to use as a valuable YouTube watcher. I value your feedback. If there's an issue with any fitment or questions, you can email me using my contact form at the top of the page at doorbellmounts.com. Also, please note that non-Tennessee residents will save sales tax over ordering at my Nearly New Model mounts on other sites such as Etsy or eBay. Enough about the mounts. You can read more about them if you're interested on my online store in the mounts descriptions. So let's proceed with the installation. Today we will be installing the Nest battery and the Nest wired onto their various different mounts onto 4-inch straight lap vinyl siding using the screws that I provide and that come with the Nest doorbell. Also comes with an instruction sheet on how to do what's in this video. Most of you have 4-inch siding, but you will need to measure to make sure. The way you can tell is you go from the lap of one piece of siding to the lap curve on the same piece of siding, and as you'll see, this shows that this is a 4-inch piece of siding. Please note, if you're using a ruler and not a tape measure, sometimes a ruler will have a gap before the measurement actually starts. So you may want to start at the 1-inch mark and then go and measure that way, and then subtract 1 inch from your actual measurement to get the length of the siding. The more accurate your measurement, the better your fit will be on your piece. The mounts will look different depending on the siding size and type of siding that you have. I have choices on my website of the different siding sizes. You select your size, and I take care of sending you the appropriate mount that fits that size siding. How you measure your siding, there's a more detailed link on my website, and the different mounts are described in detail on the description. Important notice, these mounts shown in my videos do not fit on Dutch lap. Dutch lap is a new siding that is becoming very popular on newer houses and newer installations. These are some examples of Dutch lap siding. Dutch lap has a flat front that curves with a slope back towards your house. If you put your tape measure on when you're trying to measure, you'll see that the tape measure does not lay flat when you're trying to measure like it does when you do a standard lap siding. That's one giveaway that you can tell that these are Dutch lap and this is standard. However, just because you have Dutch lap does not mean you can't mount your doorbell. All Dutch lap is pretty much different depending on the manufacturers, when they made the siding, the color, and the size. As you can see, some have a smaller flat part and a longer slope. Some have a deeper projection than other pieces, and some have a longer flat front and a slight slope, and some have a flat front, a slope, and then another flat spot before it goes into the curve. If you have Dutch lap siding, you want to email me at my store using the custom request order form at the top of the page if you have this type of siding. I can make custom mounts for it and all other types of angles or siding, but standard vinyl siding are what my in-store mounts are made for, and they will not fit Dutch lap. Installation of a custom Dutch lap mount would be the same as in this video, but the mounts will look physically different. Tools that you will need that are not included are a Phillips head screwdriver. That's it. The instruction sheet will be provided that show all the steps in this video and will include the mounting screws in it with your purchase. This is the new Nest battery mount, and it has nubs on the back. And these fit into my mount and lock into place, so you get a nice flat connection. Standard vinyl siding has a slight curve to it on the side, and so do my mounts. They have a slight curve so that they fit the contour against the siding. You will want to install the mount and the backing plate together as one and using the 2 screws that I provide. We're going to do that now. If you want to use the optional shim, you will connect that first to my mount, which it also locks into place, and it is reversible, but we will go into detail on how to install this later. So right now we're going to install the doorbell without the angle shim. And we're going to install the doorbell using the white mount because the doorbell's white and our siding sample here is white. So we'll install with the white mount. We'll put the 2 together and we'll lock them into place. And we'll use my 2 screws and we'll put through both countersunk holes, and we will run the wiring up through the middle. If you don't have wiring, ignore the wiring, and you can place the doorbell anywhere you want to on your siding because this is a battery model. But the battery model also has 2 connections here that you can use if you want to hook up wiring to it. You want to line up the mount the best you can and then push it down and install the top screw. If you want to make sure this is precise, you can put a level up against the side. Make sure you get it straight up and down. There is a little movement left and right once you install it, but you probably want to get it positioned properly where you're happy with it. Okay, and you'll want to tighten both screws down until the head of the screw is recessed below the surface of the mount, so it's recessed into the nub. You don't want to over tighten, just until it's snug. And you do have some positioning here, so you want to make sure that your metal backing plate has an even amount of space on the sides. And then once you're happy with that, tighten that down. If you do want to use the wiring, now would be the time that you hook up the wires. We are not going to hook up the wires because this is a battery doorbell, so that's the whole point of the doorbell, so we don't want the wires. You'll want to position this nub into the hole here, and there's also a recess in my mount too. And you put it in at the bottom, and then push the doorbell up a little bit. Push it in at the top, and you can see on the side if it's against the mount. And then pull the doorbell downward, and it will click. Now the doorbell is installed, and as you can see, you have a good, firm, tight surface. No water can get behind the doorbell to damage it. Release the doorbell to charge it. You use the key that comes with your Google Nest, and there's a slot in the top of the doorbell. You insert it into the slot, push it in firmly, push upwards on the doorbell, and it will release and come off, and then you can use the USB cable to charge it. And then to put it back on, you simply do the same thing that we showed before. Now you're all finished. Get your mount today, and we support all types of siding sizes of standard siding in our store. And anything that's not in the store can be custom made to your specifications for a small upcharge. Now let's install the Nest battery again using my mount and the included angle wedge next. Now we will install the angle wedge with my mount. First, you'll position it. It also has nubs that recess into my mount as well. And for this installation, we're going to assume that your door is to the left and your walkway is to the right. So we'll want the doorbell facing right. So we'll flip it over. And what we'll do is we'll take the 2 screws that are included with your mount, and we'll put them through the 2 holes here. It'll be a different hole than what the backing plate uses. So if you install this and then decide later that you want to install the angle wedge, it will use 2 different holes. So then what we'll do is we'll position our wiring up through the center. just in case we want to use that at a later time. If you have no wiring, you can disregard this. You want to position the doorbell where you want it, push it up tight against the siding, and then you'll want to install the top and bottom screw. So now we'll tighten our screws up. And as you'll notice, there's a little more mount shows on this side than on this side, but that's due to the way the angled wedge is tapered sharply. Tighten the screw all the way down until the screw head is recessed into the angled wedge. Continue to do the same thing for the bottom screw. You'll notice that it's very secure. So now you'll want the backing plate for the Nest battery. And you'll want to position it on here. And as you'll see, 2 of the holes line up with these threaded inserts. And then you'll want to get in your little kit, the 2 threaded inserts are these 2 tiny screws here. You will use these, and this is how you attach the backing plate to the angle wedge. And now all 3 should be secure together. And we're not going to use the wiring again because this is a battery doorbell. You take your doorbell, you insert the nub into the recess, push upwards once it's locked in, push down at the top, and slide the whole unit down together as one until it clicks into place. And now you have your doorbell installed with the built-in angle wedge. Let's finally install the Nest wire next. It installs close to the exact same way as the Nest battery did before if you already watched that part of the video. We will install the mount and the metal backing plate together as one with the screws that I include with the doorbell mount. And as you can see, the Nest mount nubs recess into the Nearly New Models mount, and then you install the screws through both pieces together. Until the screws poke out the back. Put the wires up through the middle of both mount and the backing plate together. Position the doorbell where you would like it. And then push the mount up snug up against the upper piece of siding. And then install the screws. Okay, and the screws will pierce into the board behind the siding. And once they pierce in, you go ahead and completely tighten them all the way up snug. Screws have a tapered head, so they'll sit in a recess. And you'll know you only have it tight when they're recessed into the countersunk bracket. Center up your bracket. It has a little movement left and right. Make sure it's centered on the mount and continue to tighten the screw. Now we have our mount installed, secured. Attach the wires to the back of the doorbell. And do not worry if the wires touch together. They'll just ring your doorbell. And the wires will not shock you, so don't worry about touching them. Once you have the wires attached, flip the doorbell over and lock it at the bottom, push it in at the top, and it will snap into place. Now our Nest wired is installed. And as you can see, the vinyl siding, standard vinyl siding mount has a curve that matches the curve of your siding and creates a nice seal and a good solid mounting surface for your doorbell. As mentioned before, if you need any specific angles pointed upward, downward, left or right, or any combination that's more than this angle or less than this angle that comes with it, I can make custom made solutions. I can make the angle wedge built into the mount so it's all one unit and it angles your doorbell. I can do 30 degrees. I think 30 degrees looks really nice. I can do up to 45 degrees. I can do 5 to 15 degrees up or down if you need your doorbell pointed up or down. If there's any other doorbell mount that you need, I support the Ring, the Arlo, the UFi, Ubiquity, Skybell, Simply Safe. If it's not listed as a choice in the drop down or the item description, don't assume that you can't have it. contact me. I might be able to make it for you as a custom order. Thank you so much for watching my video.